Varun, I was extremely overwhelmed when I first looked over the PMBOK. It had this dry and user manual kind of feel. I often get emails like these, and I'm kind of sure that some of you may feel the same. But passing PMP exam is not just about reading PMBOK or any other book. It is about wearing the PMI hat while answering those PMP exam questions. You have to apply those concepts and kill those PMP exam questions. Oh, by the way, who am I? My name is Varun and I am the founder of EduHubSpot. Somebody who has given thousands of PMPs to this industry, and I'm proud of it. In this video, I will give you introduction on the PMP exam, how to use the whiteboard, and most importantly, show the different types of questions you may get in the real PMP exam. So let's dive right into it. Before I even start explaining you about the new exam content outline, I hope you all remember that initially there were 5 process groups. It was initiation, planning, execution, monitoring control, and closing. However, what PMI did in this new exam outline is they decomposed all of the 5 process group and instead they came up with domains: people, processes, and business environment. Initially, it was 7% in initiation, around 20 to 25% of questions in planning and monitoring control, and I think 30 to 35% in execution, and the remaining ones around less than 10% were in closing. Now there are 42% in people domain, 50% in process domain, and the remaining 8% in business environment. Initially, it was all about the predictive world, the predictive waterfall model. Now, you will get 50% of questions from Agile and 50% of questions from your predictive project management. So let's see, what do we have? We have domain, tasks, and enabler. What is a domain? So initially you had knowledge areas, right? Your integration, scope, your cost, resource, and all those things. Now they have decomposed those knowledge areas into known as the domains, which is the overall plan, the high level knowledge area that is actually essential to practice the project management. Then what they did was, in each of these domains, they added tasks. What were those tasks? The tasks which are actually the responsibility of the project manager within each and every domain. Finally, you have enabler. What is enabler? Enabler is actually an example of the particular work which is associated with that task. So let me just show you one example. So now we have a task statement which is define team ground rules. What was a task statement? It was the project management responsibility in each domain. As you see, it is define team ground rules, which means it is part of your people domain. Because it's team, right? Team means people like you and I. So this is a task which is part of people. Okay, what are the different enablers? What are enablers? The examples of that particular task. Like for instance, what will you do? You will manage and rectify the ground rule violations. It's your job as a project manager to make sure that you manage, and if there are any issues and stuff like that, you will resolve those. You as a project manager has to establish an environment that will foster adherence to the ground rules. This is another enabler. Lastly, we have communicate organizational principles with team and external stakeholders. That's another enabler. So all of these are illustrations, examples of the particular task we have. And all of these tasks report to the domain people. Okay. Now, if you are confused about this, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it, because each of these tasks would be covered in our subsequent videos. I want to explain you the difference between the home-based exam experience and actually the center-based exam experience. Now, PMI introduced the home-based exam experience for the COVID situation. As you all know, that was when the first time for the PMP exam, PMI said that we would allow you to give the exam from home. But what are the things which you need to take care of? First, you have to make sure that your system first of all, don't use the company laptop. There are some firewall issues which may cause some issue. PMI will send you an email to do a system check. Make sure you do that system check before your exam, like 2-3 days before your exam, so that you know the laptop which you are using is absolutely right. Then make sure the table on which your laptop is there, you don't have anything. When I say don't have anything, I mean not even a pen or a paper or even a water bottle. Nothing is allowed. Remember, the exam will last for 230 minutes. You will get 2 breaks, 2 10 minutes break. First break would be after question number 60. So when you are at question number 60, you will get a pop-up. In that pop-up, they will ask you, do you want to review your questions? So if you say yes, you can go back and review all your questions from 1 to 60. If you say no, then they will ask you, do you want a 10-minute break or not? It's completely optional. So let's say you select that 10-minute break. You go out. In that 10-minute break, you can go out of your room and you can come back in 10 minutes. Once you come back in 10 minutes, remember one thing, you cannot review your questions from 1 to 60 at that time. It's done. Then your exam would start from question number 61 to 120. And after question number 120, a similar experience. You will get another 10-minute break. And finally, your exam will finish at 180 questions. You will get 180 questions in total, and there would be combination of multiple choice, multiple responses. What do I mean by multiple responses? They will say that out of the 4 options, select the best 2 options in this particular scenario. So you will, or they will say select the best 3. If you don't pick all the 3 options correct, then you will not get the full marks for it. Then you will get the matching questions, hotspot questions, and also the fill in the blank. If you really want to see what matching is, what hotspot is, just hold on for a while. I will definitely show you the prototype of questions you will get in the exam. Now, another option you have to take into consideration is that you have then option to highlight, and you have an option to mark the questions for you so that you can come back easily at a later time. This is absolutely possible. Finally, you will have to use the whiteboard to solve the PMP mathematical questions. So let me now show you how the whiteboard works. So on the left hand side, you will have a couple of options. Options like you will get a pen, you can pick a pen or whatever. Let's say this is one of the pen I choose. Or you will get some kind of square box or something you can use. Now it's more like a drag and drop. You can make, and you remember one thing, it's not very comfortable. It's not very, since you are using a mouse, it's not at all and you can I'll show it to you how it is. So see, I created this, which is pretty easy. Okay, let me draw another one. You create another box, then you create, let's say, another box. So you created these boxes. Then you will have to use a pen, and using a mouse you will write, let's say, A, then B, then C. On the top you can write it is 2. You can write it is 1. So see how my handwriting is bad? Because I'm using a mouse, and that's exactly how it will work. Now, network diagram is still easy to make, but the real question is when you solve the earned value management questions. Like you write CV is, your CV is, let's say, $2,000. Just for the easiness, I wrote like this. So it is very difficult. You can clearly see that I am not able to write it. But I'm just giving you a background that on your left hand side you will have the options. You will have to probably do a drag and drop on the right and start using this whiteboard. It's kind of tricky, but there are some tools available on the Google. Just type in and you will probably get some practice. But I don't think so you will get many maths questions. That's how typically the trend has been these days. But still, you should know exactly how the whiteboard works. Now, for the center-based exam experience, it is totally, it's not totally different. The pattern of 180 questions, 230 minutes, same 10 minutes break and all those things, and the same type of questions, all that is still valid. The only difference is that in this, you really don't need to use the whiteboard. You can actually use a pen and paper. So it is actually with the Pearson Center. You go to a Pearson Center. In the Pearson Center, the proctor will sign you in. They will check. They will want you to have an identity card. They will check it. They will make sure everything is there. You're not even allowed to have take a water bottle or any food item. If you're wearing a jacket or something, they will ask you to remove your jacket in the lobby area. They'll give you a locker. Then you will go in, start the test in the same manner, because ultimately the testing software is still the same. So you're giving the test in the same format. But a lot of people actually prefer center-based exam experience because of the use of whiteboard. Not all people are comfortable with the whiteboard, so they prefer to give the exam from center-based, but it's totally optional. You can use whatever option suits best for you. I know specifically for the COVID period, a lot of people were preferring to give the exam from home instead of going out. But again, it's totally your choice, whatever you want to do. Now, next section, I want to show you the different types of questions you will get in the PMP exam, the prototypes basically. This is just one of the sample questions and I will read out to you. If you don't understand the answer, if you don't know what the answer is, it's absolutely fine. I'm not testing your knowledge over here. I'm just showing you the different types of questions you may get in the PMP exam. First, one of your team member is underperforming on a recently assigned module. The reason is that she lacks experience for this type of work. However, she is the only resource on your team that is available to work on the module. So she is more like an SME. What is the best solution to this problem? Okay, so she lacks the experience for this type of work. However, she is the only one, who has worked on this particular module. What will you do? A, consult your senior manager about giving her incentives to motivate her to do the work. Okay, is there a problem over here with the motivation? I don't think so. So you can eliminate A. B, hire a new resource. Okay, so if someone is lacking the experience but the same person is the only person who is available to work on this module, why would you just go ahead and hire a new resource? It doesn't make sense. So eliminate B. C, provide training to the team member. Absolutely, right? Providing training is actually a tool in your resource management knowledge area, and you do that all the time and it makes absolutely sense. So far it looks like C is the correct answer, but D, move her to another module she is qualified for. Okay, it does. It's when the question is clearly explicitly saying she is the only resource on your team to available on the work on the module, then you definitely have to pick correct answer as C. Now this is, I would say, majority of your questions would be in this category, not on the difficulty level. This was a pretty easy questions, just to be honest. I didn't want it to scare you by giving you a difficult question in the first go. But this question is where you have to pick one answer choice among 4 options. Let's move to the second one. Second answer choice, second question. Over here, you may have to select multiple choice answer. They may give you more than 4 answer choices also. You may get 5 answer choices and you have to pick 2 or 3 options out of the 4 or 5 which are given to you. Let's see this question. Ria has recently become a Scrum Master in her organization, which is trying to shift to Agile. Previously, she had been a project manager using the waterfall model. She's struggling to understand the agile mindset and imparting that mindset to her team. What two choices among the following choice do not demonstrate an agile mindset? Okay, so over here, first of all, it's a not type of question, which says do not. That's important question. It's not asking that you should, it's talking about do not. And secondly, they want you to pick 2 answer choices out of 4. In your exam, you can get 5 answer choices also, and you may have to pick 2 or 3, depending. But this is your second type of question. Let's read the option. A, use daily scrum to answer the 3 questions and ensure all are updating their status to her. Now, this is definitely not the correct answer. Oh, I mean, this is definitely is actually the correct answer, but what I'm trying to say is this is definitely an option where it is not demonstrating an agile mindset. Why? Of course, there are 3 questions in your daily stand-up, which is what you did yesterday, what you are doing today, and what are the issues. But you don't give status to her. In this option, you are giving status to the Scrum Master. That's absolutely wrong. So A is your correct choice because it is talking about, it's not demonstrating an agile mindset. If you didn't get it, it's absolutely fine. I would be covering these topics in very detail on my website www.eduhubspot.com. You will actually get 100 free questions. You can come in, log in and attempt it. So don't worry, I have videos on each and every topic. Let's move to the next one. B, ensure that team is protected from all the distractions and no one from outside the team bothers them with queries about project progress. Exactly. You as a Scrum Master has to take that lead. You have to make sure you do the reciprocal commitment. Keep that in mind. I'll explain you reciprocal commitment in my other videos. But what I'm trying to say is that you will be someone who will be protecting the team from the other members so that they are not bothered. So this is definitely an agile principle, an agile mindset. So B is not the correct choice. So you can eliminate that. C, be a servant leader and ensure that all the obstacles are removed from the team's path. Exactly. This is what your agile mindset is. They expect the agile coach, the Scrum Master, to be a servant leader. So option C is also a particular choice which is demonstrating the agile mindset. So that's gone as well. This will not be the correct answer choice. And lastly, ensure that the product owner doesn't bring scope changes and tightly control the changes to ensure that the team is not negatively impacted. Okay, this is the wrong, this is a wrong answer choice. Basically, this is the correct answer, but this is a particular principle which do not demonstrate an agile mindset. Agile is all about changes. It embraces change. And option D is saying you should not, it does not bring scope change, which is absolutely wrong. So your correct answer choices were A and D. So this is your second type of question which you may get in the exam, where they would specifically ask you to pick 2 or 3 choices. Remember, it could have more than 4 answer choices also. Let's see the third type of question. Third type of question which you will get in the exam is drag and drop questions. So let's see something like this. They will say, match each process in the project stakeholder management with its associated process group. Drag the correct process to the yellow destination. So basically, on your left hand side, you will have process like identify stakeholders. On the right hand side, you will have process groups. You will drag the process and you will place it in the yellow section. Like identify stakeholder, it's initiation, so it will go to the initiation section. Monitor engagement, that is your monitoring and control, so it will go over there. So this is a very simple question. Again, I'm not saying this is the type, this is the question you will get. These are the type of questions you may get in the exam. This is your third type. Okay, fourth type, most important and something brand new, which is hotspot questions. What is this hotspot question? Something like this. Click the area where the project became ahead of schedule. So if you see over here, so this is a burn up chart. I'm pretty sure you are not aware about what burn up chart is. Okay, you may be aware, but I have not explained it to you, so please don't mind about it. Of course, I have explained it in my later videos, so you can watch it on my website www.eduhubspot.com. But over here, you will probably have to click the area. They will give you 4 options, A, B, C, D, and you have to pick the right answer. Sometime you may have to drag the option in this particular hotspot question. So something like this can also come. Let's see the last type of question, which is an activity has an early start of 13, a late start of 23, an early finish of 19, and a late finish of 29. Fill in the blank. So basically they are asking you fill in the blank type of questions. I know you may or you may not know whether it's a you know what is the correct answer or what is early start, early finish. It's absolutely fine. If you want me to explain, I can show it to you right now. So it says an early start. This is your early start. This is your early finish. So basically this is 13. This is your 19, which is your early finish. Okay. This is your late start and this is your late finish. What is your late start? It is 23 and your late finish is 29. Okay. My handwriting is very bad. So 29. Okay. And this one is 13. So let me just write it again. 13. Okay. And this is 19. So is this activity on critical path? If you remember, on critical path, your float is always 0. So what is the formula for float? Late start minus early start. So if you see, late start minus early start is 23 minus 13, which is 10. So this activity is definitely not on critical path. It could have been on critical path if late start minus early start or late finish minus early finish would have been 0. So this is definitely not on the critical path. Has a lead. Has a lead. You cannot determine that it has a lead or lag. They did not explicitly say that in the question, or there is no indication of that. So B and C are gone as well. The final one is not on the critical path. Absolutely, it's not on the critical path if you see, because 23 minus 13 or 29 minus 19 is not 0. If it has to be on critical path, it would have been 0. So the correct answer in this particular case is your answer choice D. So this is your fill in the blank question, which you may get in your actual PMP exam. Now, next we have is this PMP exam is a standardized experience. What do I mean by standardized test? It's like the same test should perform at the same level on one version of the PMP exam as they should on the another version. The results should be normally distributed by all the test takers around the world. So it's not a, I would say, a computer adaptive test. What is a computer adaptive test? This means, let's say you solved question number 1 and you got it right. Your next question would be more difficult. If you got question number 2 right, your third one would be even more difficult. No, it is a simple, straightforward, which means all your 180 questions would be downloaded and you would be able to answer it. So this exam does not test your memorization skills. If you think you can mug up and you can find the correct answers, no, it cannot. This exam does not test your knowledge of industry practice. You know, I teach PMP all the time. I get people from biotechnology, construction, IT, healthcare, clinical trials. Then one time I taught a NASA scientist. I have taught many doctors, actual medical doctors PMP. So it is not about, they will not ask you a question about how healthcare industry works. No, it's not about any specific industry practice. This will not test your common sense. Please, you have to wear your PMI hat while answering these questions. Remember, your job hat may have made you successful, but in order to pass this exam, you have to apply the concepts. please don't use your common sense. Whatever you learnt in your management school, forget about it. This is something different. Your knowledge of how to use the software tools. Nope, they will not talk about Microsoft project or how SharePoint works or how your Outlook works. No, they will not talk about any software tool. They will not test your analytical test. It is not about your analytics. This is all about scenario-based questions, and you need to really understand how scenario-based questions will be solved. Don't worry, I'll definitely guide you with that as well. Let's see, what does the exam test? The exam will test your on-job project management experience. Exactly. Whatever you have been working on, that is what they will test you. But project management, waterfall and agile. Your understanding of the many terms which is used to describe the formalized approach. We use these approaches on a day-to-day life. But you know what? We may not know the right terminology used for that. This exam will test you on that so that you know that terminology. What is iterative? What is incremental life cycle? What is product roadmap? What is backlog grooming? Things like that, which you do that, but you may not know the correct name for it. Your ability to apply the experience to different scenarios. As I told you, this exam is all and all, it's everything about scenario-based question. So you have to understand, you have to, like the way I was applying the questions, I was using elimination technique. This is what you have to learn. And you cannot learn it overnight. You have to understand. Mostly people take a live boot camp with me. I explain the scenarios to them. I explain a concept and I ask them question. That is how I do. Why? Because I want to understand. I can explain a particular topic to someone. Anyone can do that. But are they able to apply those concepts in solving questions? That is what I do. I apply the concept and show them how to get the correct answer. Your ability to apply the key formulas. I know a lot of people are afraid, are scared of mathematics. But don't worry. Don't worry about it. You really need to understand the mathematics, but you have to memorize the formula. One thing I would definitely ask you to memorize the formulas, and as I told you, I will take care of that. Your understanding of professional responsibility. In one of my future videos, I will talk about professional responsibility also, so it is covered. Finally, your understanding of project manager roles. Like you have to have a problem solving skills, you have to be proactive, things like that. And, different roles like project coordinator, project manager, functional manager, all those things would be tested as well. Okay, how to apply for the exam? First of all, you have to take a boot camp, a live class. There are different ways of taking a class. Either you can do a self online learning, but PMI has introduced the concept of ATP, Authorized Training Partners. What does that mean is only selected few recognized companies like EduHubSpot, who are part of this elite group of ATPs can teach this class. I cannot use my own slides. I have to use PMI slide to take to teach that class. That is where the authenticity comes from. So take a class from an ATP. Once you take a class from an ATP, PMI will directly give you those 35 contact hours. PMI will also give you 210 real PMP exam questions. If you go on my website www.eduhubspot.com, we have added those 210 real PMP exam questions which we got from PMI. And more importantly, I have used my elimination technique to solve those 210 questions so that you can see how I am applying my knowledge, and that is what you have to learn from. But you cannot get those things if you are not part of a boot camp. So you have to take a PMP exam prep course from us in order to get that. So once you do that, then you will probably have to go on pmi.org website. Over there you have to submit your application. Your 35 contact hours are automatically taken care by PMI if you take a live class. If not, then if you are taking from a non-ATP, you have to write it down. And you know what? I think there would be high chances that the application may get audited because it is coming from a non-ATP or non-approved source. But again, please don't quote me for this because I'm not sure about it. Then within 5 business days, you will get the either the approval notification or the audit notification. Typically, your audit notification is immediately. It's more like a computer generated algorithm, and if it is picked, yes. If it is an audit, send me an email at services.eduhubspot.com, or you can actually directly send me an email also, which is varun.anand, that's my first name, last name, varun.anand@eduhubspot.com. Over there, I can definitely help you out in the case of audit also, so don't worry about it. But if you do the application in the first go, which is perfect, then we may not have any troubles in the audit. So reach out to me if you need some help for your application review and things like that. Then you have to select an option whether you want to give the exam from home or a center-based Pearson. Once you give the exam, pass the exam, and do share the good news with me. I always read each and every email which I get. Okay, then you go there, you sit for the exam, try to reach 20 to 30 minutes early, or try to start, if you're giving from home, try to start your exam 20 to 30 minutes early. They will ask you for 2 forms of ID, which is either if you are going to a center. Normally, I'm saying you should get 2 forms of ID, but 1 is enough, to be honest. Okay. After the exam, once you finish your 180 question, it will ask you for a short survey, and immediately within 30 to 60 seconds, you will get either congratulations or sorry. So, and they will give you a breakdown of those 3 those domains: people, process, and business environment, and they will say whether you were above target or needs improvement or below target. So that is what they will tell you. Then after you are PMP, you can start using the word PMP after your name. Like for instance, for me, I use PFMP. I'm a portfolio management professional also. I use PMP. I am an Agile certified practitioner also, ACP, and I am actually a CSM also, Certified Scrum Master. So I use all of these designations after my name. Okay. Now, what is on the PMP exam? You will get 3 types of questions on the PMP exam. I mean, when I say 3 types, the types I've already explained, but what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to further categorize them into easier, medium, and harder. So typically you have around 30% of easier questions, 40% of medium difficulty, and finally you have 30% of harder questions. So let's see, what are these easier questions? Easier questions are something which may be answered by most of the test takers, like you and I. These are the questions on ethics, supporting PMI, some of the basic terminologies, some of the obvious deliverables and tools. You will not get a straightforward ITTO question. Please remember that. I repeat, you will not get a straightforward ITTO question. Your 90% of your questions would be scenario-based questions. You really have to apply the logic in order to get those answers. What are your medium questions? Medium questions are, harder, but they should be answerable by most test takers like you and I. Why? Because we know exactly, we have studied hard, and that's how, we will be able to answer. Things like, what will you do next? Things like, where they are specifically talking about a particular deliverable or a tool. They will explain you a scenario and they will say, which particular technique should the project manager do? And you know what? They may rephrase it. What do you think the project manager should do next? Indirectly, they are asking you that one of the options would be use root cause analysis. B, use fishbone diagram. So what are they are indirectly asking you about some of the deliverables and tools only. Some of a very specific terms and vocabulary from the PMBOK guide. Yes, they can ask that. Questions about what to do in a scenario, as I told you, and questions about your specific project roles and responsibilities. That's also like functional manager, project coordinator, things like that they may ask as well. Finally, you will get harder questions. As I told you, 30% of the questions will fall into the category of harder, which is highly situational questions. By the time you reach the last statement, you don't even remember what they were really asking. Questions, you are not really sure what they are asked. Poorly worded questions. question where more than one correct answer and you have to select the best. So like they will give you 4 options and they will say select the best answer choice. You may be able to eliminate 2 answer choices, but you are still doubtful between the 2 answer choices. That's your harder question. And of course the mathematical questions. Mathematical I have specifically added in the harder questions because some of the people are not comfortable with mathematics. But don't worry, if you want to understand maths, go to my website www.eduhubspot.com, and I have added 100 questions specifically on mathematics, and I have solved each and every question, and I have recorded a video for that. You would see the amount of hard work I have done just to make your life easier. What should be your strategy for harder questions? First of all, remember one thing. For your harder questions, you will not naturally gravitate towards the right answer. You would be confused. You would be left with 2 answer choices. Remember one thing, sometimes some of my students, who are working very hard, they start to overanalyze the situation. They tell me always that, Varun, I think C should be correct, B is PMI is trying to trick us. No, not in all the questions. So if you are at that stage, this means you are overanalyzing the questions. Okay, look for the trap, read the all the answer choices before you select the best choice. That's very important as well. Sometimes we read a particular option, let's say A. I kind of liked it. I will not even read B, C, D. That's the biggest blunder you do. Why? Because in PMP exam, more than one answer choice could be correct. So you have to be very, very careful. Ask yourself what the novice would pick and then eliminate that answer choice. That's what do you think what a fresher would pick? If you think a fresher is trying to take a shortcut, then that is not your answer. PMP exam is not about shortcut. It's all about hard work, and same logic applies in picking up the answer choices also. If one of the answer choice is trying to take a shortcut, that will never be the choice. Finally, I want to make sure that you solve more than 1000 plus questions on my website www.eduhubspot.com and learn and see how I am applying those logic to answer those questions. That is where it will show you. That is what you have to learn. Okay, I hope you like my video, but before you go, I want to tell you something. I've created like behind the scenes video. Just do watch it, and do write your comment on and say if you liked it or not. Not just about the behind the scenes, but the overall video. If you have any questions, you have my email address. ओ तेरी डरा क्यों रहा है? Shall we start?
Yep.
Okay, I'm looking good. Is everything good?
See your hair.
From here?
Yeah.
You know what? One video we should record it without this. I'm seriously tired of this. Do you think people will take me seriously?
I don't think so.
Let me wear it. On one of the side, you will see my next video lesson, which is on some of the tips and tricks. And on the next side, you will see some of my favorite video as well. Don't forget to subscribe here because I always put lots and lots of videos to make your life easier. Thank you.